All right, let's get into this, my friend. If you've been paying attention to what's going on with the Cowboys' defense this offseason, there's a new vibe brewing, especially in the secondary. And no, it's not just about getting younger or adding a few fresh faces. It's about building a new identity. And the guy shaping it all? Defensive coordinator Mike Zimmer. Now look, we all know Zimmer doesn't play around. He's tough, he's detail-obsessed, and when it comes to defense, he's got one thing in mind: control. That mindset is already starting to show up in how the Cowboys are organizing the back end of their defense. It's not just about lining up and reacting anymore. Zimmer wants this group to attack, disguise, and dictate the flow of the game. And honestly, with the talent already in the building, this isn't some pipe dream. We're talking about a young group with serious upside. You've got guys with speed, length, instincts, and now, with Zimmer, the structure to put it all together. But here's where it gets really interesting. The Cowboys didn't just roll with what they had. They went out and brought in even more competition for the cornerback spots. That tells you they're not just hoping to survive on the back end. They're looking to dominate. And Zimmer is clearly being trusted to mold that unit from the ground up, his way. So let me ask you something. Do you feel more confident in this secondary now that Zimmer is calling the shots? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let me know. And while you're at it, if you had to bet on one breakout player from the secondary this year, who are you riding with? Vote in the poll, and let's see who's got the most hype heading into camp. Up next, we'll break down the players Zimmer is likely counting on most to carry out his vision. Trust me, there are a couple names here you need to watch closely. All right, now that we've set the stage with Mike Zimmer's impact, let's talk about the core players he's likely banking on to bring his vision to life. At the top of the list, it has to be Trevon Diggs. When he's healthy, he's a game changer, plain and simple. He's a risk taker, sure, but that fits what Zimmer actually likes when it's channeled the right way. Zimmer wants aggressive corners, but within structure, and Diggs, under the right guidance, could take that next leap. Not just as a playmaker, but as a lockdown corner who sets the tone. Then there's Darren Bland, who quietly had one of the most impressive seasons we've seen from a young defensive back in a long time. Let's not forget, this guy led the NFL in interceptions. His ball skills are elite, and what makes him perfect for Zimmer's scheme is that he's smart, adaptable, and thrives when he's put in position to read and react. Expect him to be a major piece, maybe even more than most realize. Now we add in Jordan Lewis. He's the veteran in this group and brings experience and grit. No, he's not the flashiest, but Zimmer has always valued players who know their role and execute. If Lewis stays healthy, don't be shocked if he ends up being the steady hand in that nickel spot while the younger guys fly around. These three form the foundation, but Zimmer is going to push all of them. He doesn't care about past accolades. He cares about who can execute under pressure, disguise coverages, and play smart football. So let me ask you, out of these three, who do you trust the most heading into the season? And who do you think Zimmer is going to lean on the heaviest? Drop your answer in the comments, and while you're at it, rank them 1 to 3 in terms of expected impact this season. Next up, we've got something real intriguing. We're going to talk about the Cowboys' new additions to the cornerback room, and why they might not be just depth guys after all. Now here's where things get exciting. We've talked about the established core of this Cowboys secondary, but let's take a look at the newcomers, because these aren't just roster fillers. Mike. Zimmer didn't come back to babysit. He came to compete, and he's already got some new toys to work with. First up, Kalen Carson, the rookie out of Wake Forest. This kid was drafted in the 5th round, but don't let that fool you. He plays with physicality, instincts, and discipline, all traits Zimmer values in his corners. Carson might not have elite top-end speed, but he's sticky in coverage, and his ability to mirror receivers and stay patient is rare for a rookie. He could push for playing time a lot sooner than people expect, especially in a rotation or dime package. Then there's Noah Igbinoghene, a former first-rounder brought in via trade last year. He didn't get a ton of snaps in 2023, but Zimmer might see him as a reclamation project. He's athletic, long, and aggressive. If anyone can tap into his potential and get his technique under control, it's Zimmer. Keep an eye on him in camp. He's either going to rise or fade fast. Let's not overlook Eric Scott Jr. either. Drafted in 2023, he spent last season developing quietly, but the Cowboys have kept him around for a reason. He's long, physical, and still raw, but under Zimmer's watch, that kind of developmental profile becomes interesting. He's a guy that could thrive in press man situations and special teams. What we're seeing here is a reshaped room, young, hungry, and built to compete. Zimmer doesn't want just 3 solid corners. He wants 5 who can rotate, play multiple spots, and bring heat in coverage schemes. And he's going to throw all of them into the fire early to see who can hang. So here's a fun question. Which of these new guys do you think will be the biggest surprise this year? Carson? Igbinoghene? Maybe even Scott Jr.? Let me know in the comments, and tell me who you think is the underdog to watch this offseason. Next, let's talk about something that has Zimmer fired up: the potential breakout of a certain hard-hitting safety and how the safety group could quietly be the glue of this defense. All right, let's shift focus to the safeties, and I'm telling you, this might be where Zimmer has the most fun scheming, because while cornerback has the big names, the safety room might be the most versatile and underrated part of this Cowboys defense. Start with Donovan Wilson. When he's healthy, he's a tone setter, aggressive, fast downhill, and not afraid to lay the wood. Zimmer has always loved enforcer-type safeties who can live in the box and still hold up in coverage. Wilson fits that mold perfectly. You can bet he'll be heavily involved in blitz packages and disguises. Then there's Malik Hooker, who might be the smartest guy in the secondary. He's rangy, experienced, and rarely out of position. Zimmer thrives with a true center fielder who can read the quarterback and clean up mistakes behind the corners. Hooker allows him to be more creative up front, knowing the deep middle is secure. But the name to circle, and I really want you to remember this, is Marquise Bell. Last season, Bell stepped up in a hybrid linebacker safety role, and he flashed all over the tape. His speed and instincts were impressive, especially for a guy learning a new position on the fly. Now, with Zimmer at the helm, expect that role to expand even further. He could be that new-age defender who floats between linebacker and strong safety depending on the formation. That flexibility is gold in today's NFL. What makes this group special isn't just talent, it's how complementary they are. You've got a thumper, a ball hawk, and a hybrid chess piece. Zimmer can mix and match, roll coverages, show blitz and drop back, or send everyone at once. So here's a thought for you. Could this safety trio be the most important piece of the Cowboys' defense in 2025? I want your take. Who do you think will lead this group in impact? Is it Wilson with his hits, Hooker with his mind, or Bell, the rising wild card? Drop your thoughts in the comments and stick with me, because next, we're going to explore how all these pieces could come together in Zimmer's signature defensive schemes. Now that we've looked at all the position groups, let's talk about how Mike Zimmer puts the whole thing together. Because if you've been wondering how all these names, Maisie Smith, Micah Parsons, Trevon Diggs, Donovan Wilson, fit into one cohesive unit, here's where it gets exciting. Zimmer's blueprint is built on discipline, disguise, and destruction. He wants a defense that's unpredictable before the snap and relentless after it. With the Cowboys personnel, he now has the tools to fully unlock that philosophy. Let's start up front. Zimmer loves building pressure with 4, but he's not afraid to get creative. That means using stunts, simulated pressures, and those mugged-up looks where linebackers creep into the A-gaps to confuse the offensive line. With guys like Parsons and Williams moving around pre-snap, quarterbacks will be guessing who's coming and who's dropping. On the back end, Zimmer thrives with versatile safeties and corners who can disguise coverage. Picture this: Diggs and Bland showing man, then bailing into zone, or Bell creeping up like he's blitzing, then dropping into a robber role. Zimmer plays games with quarterbacks, and he usually wins. What really ties it together is the balance of veteran experience and youthful talent. Hooker's steady presence, Wilson's aggression, Parsons' chaos, Diggs' ball skills, and then rising stars like Bell, Overshone, and Maisie Smith adding that fresh, unpredictable energy. This isn't a rebuild, it's a reset with purpose. Zimmer doesn't need to overhaul the defense. He just needs to sharpen it, clean up the communication issues from last year, and maximize the chess pieces already on the board. So I'll ask you this to close it out. If Zimmer gets this defense clicking on all cylinders, just how far can the Cowboys go in 2025? Drop your predictions in the comments. Is this a playoff team, a Super Bowl contender, or are you waiting to see it before you believe it? Let's talk about it, because one thing's for sure, this Cowboys defense is about to get a whole lot nastier.